Hello and fuck cape shit. Welcome to another Shittywebcomics Weekly, brought to you by our Subscribe Star backers. Donate to us to support, become PayPig, and also to be told the truth. If you want to know the truth, our Subscribe Star has a lot of extra wonderful videos that are only behind the pig pay, wall
Pig,
pay,
wall pig.
the wall pig. We should just call it the
a
wall.
wall pig.
Yeah, from now on. But if you don't want to know the truth, don't donate to us. Or donate even more to us to get us to stop doing
Do you
videos.
like the truth? It is some fucking real hidden wisdom.
Do you like the truth? If you don't donate to us, no, you don't like the truth. In fact, the truth terrifies you if you don't donate to us. Hey, it's not my opinion. That's science.
Yeah,
The
there's some
science, even.
secrets. There's secrets buried in there.
I do loves the science, after all. But
No, no.
today, short episode. Again, we have some very long videos in, the Shitty Webcomics Weekly episodes. Some will be long, some will be shorter. Our Subscribe Star videos, though, more long form stuff, but not too long. It's not like several hour long videos. Although we do have some compilations. That
Yeah,
stuff's good too.
I know that there's artists who like to listen to stuff, listen to people talking in the background.
While they
Stuff.
draw,
And,
yeah.
there's
Or
a lot of them who really like our videos.
they love them so much because our videos tell the truth that they want to hear that nobody else is saying. That we've had so many artists and so many other people. Just another one today. I linked to one of our unlisted videos because it was about the one about conservatives not appreciating conservative art and for example, Clockwork Orange and that kind of thing. And this guy made a post on Minds, of all places. It was Lumdrop specifically. He made a post being like, it's so hard to find other people or artists who I can talk to about Christianity or Catholicism in any sense because they look at my art and think I'm some kind of degenerate furry, or the degenerate furries think I'm a fucking Nazi because I want to talk about Christianity or conservatism or Catholicism or whatever, and that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, here's a video that we did about this that's behind the paywall, but I'll just link it to you here. You can
We
see
have
it.
already thought about these things that some of you are just starting to discover.
Or that other people have been thinking about for a long time as well. I'm
Yeah,
sure
but
he's
nobody's
been,
talking about it.
yeah,
People are too afraid to even talk about it.
yeah, and he was
We
talking
are.
about it, and it's like, well, here's a video about that thing you were talking about, and he was like, thank you for linking me to this video. It was so good. I really enjoyed listening to it. And it's like,
We do
our
such good-
our videos are great, aren't they?
We're probably saving lives.
You know what? Yes. Anyways,
Yeah. Yes.
the speaking of topics that we have talked about, Rob Kuro has actually he's on our Discord, and so he's seen us talking about stuff, and he did a tweet from June 2nd, 2022, as opposed to today, which is October 10th. When you're listening to this, October 10th, 2022. When you're listening to this, it's not going to be there.
You will be an old man when you listen to this.
That's a long time ago. But so he did a video about something that we had brought up many times in the past, but also, well, like when we reviewed My Hero Academia back in like 2018, when we talked about anime and mangers versus American comics even earlier than that, 2016, 2015, 2014, 2013, 2012, 2011, 2010, 2000. I could go. I think you get it, but anyways.
I think you're catching it. You might be catching on to a pattern here.
There's a pattern going on, but we talked about how American comics, American comic art specifically, is going away. Nobody really likes it because even any average fool, fat pig selfish fool, can see just at a glance that American comics are so much more bland visually, even when they fill up with a lot of detail and that kind of shit. They have no sense of action. In manga, they've been perfecting a lot of aspects of comic art, not just art, but comic art, how it looks in a comic. And
and one of the reasons for that, I think, is because fucking basically Marvel and DC are kind of like artist welfare. It's like you don't have to be even remotely good, just as long as you get a job with them. That's all you
or
need.
not even at the big two, but some of the other comics, like
Yeah,
for the
American
spin-offs
comics
for
in general.
NCIS and CSI and Law and Order comic book spin-offs are drawn usually by people tracing or filtering photographs. The X-Files comics would do that too, and it's just lazy as shit. Whereas
Looks
even
ugly as fuck
yeah,
too.
even the laziest mangas have far better art than that, especially, but even than a lot of the
By
big
design.
two's top tier art.
The purpose is to make it appealing as
Yeah,
possible because they
the
know that people
style,
might not read it unless you make the art as appealing as possible.
the manga style and the manga approach that even a lot of the people who did that, like how to draw animated or how to draw like in manga, a lot of them still don't have any understanding, whereas we have this whole time, and we've been pointing out the specific ways, and some of the ways are detailed perfectly in this post, which is based off of some of the things we had been saying in many of our old videos, but then also on our Discord, where Rob Kuro saw our stuff, saw us saying the stuff on Discord, and he says, I did this a while back comparing presently two series and how they handle action scenes and whether or not using motion blurs to enhance the action further. More examples are One Punch Man and the Justice League, the state of art between manga and Western comics. And for example,
Is that a fair comparison? No.
nope, but it should be compared that way. And one of the best examples that's easiest to observe is the sense of motion. For example, this is the manga style of motion, that sort of motion blur effect that's actually has a blur effect over it, but the way it's also drawn, the sort of lines going that way to show motion, but also the way her fat fucking titty meat here is sort of flying up in the air denotes the motion. Speed lines in the background also. Here's the thing. I personally am not even a fan of speed lines usually, but they do work. But the blur effect, I think, especially on the edge of her feet, but on the edge of her foot though, like the toes section, is a longer sort of streak of blur. The way that they draw the streaks, and again, we'll
like
show
a heightened effect.
yeah, and we'll show an example. Her hand also has a bit of an effect too, and the leg overall though has this big drawn blur that's just really lines. It's a very simple effect, but it's incredibly effective.
It's not like a Photoshop filter.
Yeah. And there is a blur filter over it too, though, which also works, but it's also not really even necessary. But it works. Using a blur filter, I think, is also completely valid. Whatever helps sell the effect of motion, as opposed to, perfect example of something that doesn't, is Cyberfrog here, where it's just Cyberfrog posed and with a leg extended. You don't really get any sense of motion here on Cyberfrog or on this giant hornet that he's kicking. You don't get a sense of where.
Might as well not be kicking.
Yeah, it's like, is his foot extending out forward or is it swinging from downwards? There's not even a line, no blur, no nothing. It looks like he's flying forward to kick, but then the composition of the panel looks like he's swinging his leg down onto the hornet's head. So it's incoherent right off the fucking bat right there.
It's on top of the design of the fucking character itself.
Yeah, and also
coherent.
Also, there's like fucking 3 sentences of dialogue with this one action, which is like not how it works. It's when you kick somebody, you can't say 3 sentences, whereas Common America here,
American cape shit style.
First, yeah, exactly. This is what's wrong with American cape shit style. The entire approach of American cape shit is just getting everything, one thing after another, wrong, unrealistic, and kind of just cheesy and bland and stupid. And then it disguises all of that with just a bunch of cross-hatching and flashy coloring and detail that doesn't serve any story purpose. It's just a bunch of dross and gloss. Dross, weed, and gloss. Visually, it's just a bunch of flashy jingling of keys.
With the reader in mind.
Yeah, it's just key jingling. It's not about reading the story. It's about, look at the art is dope. But again, it's not even good action.
It's an attempt to impress people who don't know better.
Yeah, impress these shallow people.
High standards. Cape fags have no standards.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to impress them.
They're shallow.
All you're doing.
They are shallow people, possibly genetically, like a pit bull. The same way that a pit bull is genetically violent, superhero comic fans, American cape shit fans, are genetically shallow people.
Why are some cape fags less clever than others?
Purely economic reasons, I guess.
Purely economic reasons. They have too much money.
Yes, and they deserve less. And I'm glad when they donate shitloads of money to these scams and get ripped off. They deserve it. But also, here, going back to Common America real quick. First of all, upskirt. Nice.
Nice.
But also, she's just saying, kicking it, sort of finishing a sentence, which shows, it's like, when you're doing a quick action like that, that's pretty much the most you could get out. And so, that's a good understanding as well.
You want to fucking have a good flow. That's one of the things, it's a constant sin. A constant common sin of a lot of fucking American cape shit is when they fucking have a 2-page splash of Spider-Man fucking kicking somebody. It's so dope.
With like 50, yes, if you like that shit, you're a dope.
It's like fucking War and Peace in a fucking bubble going on.
Yeah, just all this dialogue with responses.
Usually stupid shit. It's like describing his power. I'm describing the power of the guy that I am.
I'm using my good thing, my spider sense. Let me know to kick this guy with my foot. That's magic of the spider. But then also he's like, hey, let's see how you like some of the size 12 here. And the bad guy's like, oh.
That got you right in the feels.
Yeah, and the bad guy's like...
Spider-Man dialogue.
The bad guy's responding, and then Spider-Man is responding to the response. Like, all of this is happening while he's kicking the guy, and then there's narration captions that say, 5 hours ago, 2 minutes later, now, just fucking...
2 minutes from 5 hours ago,
yes,
or some shit.
Yeah, just fucking... Again, that is American superhero comics. And here, though, is a great example. Again, One Punch Man with a fucking prison dude punching fucking Captain C-Man or whatever. But it's just a great example of that motion blur effect. And again, sort of angled towards the panel, so it fucking looks fantastic as well. A great perspective shot and the blur. But you can see... If you just look, the blur, and I think the blur does actually have a bit of a blur filter, but the way it's drawn, you can see the individual lines to make it look blurry over the entire arm, more onto the fist, and then on the guy's face getting punched, and also like small aspects like his other shoulder, the punching shoulder and the other shoulder and that kind of shit.
Relevant too, though, but the design of the character, the fucking prison guy, I'm assuming, because I'm not looking, that this is the guy with the afro, and he's just got a prison outfit, and he's got the ball and chain attached at all times. He's a minor character, but it's a very distinct, very eye-popping, eye-catching fucking...
to anyone, even a fucking infant could recognize that this is better, more dynamic action and art. Why doesn't this Cyberfrog look like this? And again, One Punch Man, the artist for this, an excellent artist, but this is also pretty much the standard for manga. Any manga will have effects and looks like this with perspective shots and the blur effect of just drawing the lines out, or sometimes drawing it and then sort of whiting the lines out in a way It depends on how it's done. And I think there is still a blur effect over this, but even without the blur effect, it sells the dynamic action of just a punch. Whereas, look at this. It's just like Cyberfrog has his leg out. Yeah. Again, there's no dynamic visual to it because Ethan Van Sciver doesn't know how to draw that because he's just a cape cuck. He just draws cape shit. And again, look at
the excuse for that is nobody wants to look at that.
Yeah, that's their only answer is they look at this stuff and it's like, we don't want to appeal to this kind of fan then. It's like, okay, then you're going to just sell to the biggest losers who don't like good comics. They don't like dynamic art. And
but
indeed they do.
Don't pretend like you're an indie.
We said that they were going to do that and they proved us right.
You're going to fucking claim that too. These people also want to pretend like they're fucking, I'm just an entrepreneur trying to fucking make the best business I can. No, you're not.
Yeah, if you were, you'd be drawing more like this. You'd be drawing more like this also. Anything. You would be doing anything to get a leg up, if you will. And again, what the way, I guess Cyberfrog's leg is extending, but it looks like Ethan just drew it wrong. It looks like he fucked up the drawing. It's like
I'm sure he fucked up the drawing. I'm not an artist, but I know what I like.
Yes.
And this shit is ugly as fuck.
But even if it wasn't ugly, it's still bland. It doesn't sell the action of motion. And again, what we've been saying for years and being proven right every step of the way is that American Cape Cucks don't appreciate that and don't really know how to do it, even though it's incredibly simple.
I think they don't have an understanding that they have no idea that better can be done. You can actually do better.
They don't want to know.
Even realize that.
They get angry at the very presentation of the thought of the talk. And then also...
a fucking Razor Fist.
Razor bitch.
He basically came out of nowhere to basically disagree with this whole concept because he has no fucking idea.
And then he got razor bitched. He got utterly bitched. He got fucking knocked the fuck out. He was getting rope-a-doped brutally and hilariously to the point where even his own fans were realizing he was a lol cow. Just check out our previous episode. There's a compilation episode also on our Subscribe Star.
Ropa-retarded.
Yes. But another example, though, is the last example here is fucking, I think, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, just regular punching Batman. And again, there's a little bit more of a sense of action, dynamic. Like there's a little bit of like lines on the fist to show, but there's probably added by the colorist. There's actually speed lines around it too. But aside from that, there's no dynamic motion in anything going on here.
Yeah, the pose itself, the composition of the pose is fucking really...
Yeah, it's just cheesy pinup, and the fucking faces are just ugly and just, again, cross-hatching to make you think, oh, it's detailed, but they look goofy as shit. It's terrible. It's just not good art. Even though it's detailed. A lot of people, Cape Cucks, will say, because it's detailed, therefore it's good. They can only appreciate the surface details. They don't understand how to make dynamic action or visual motion. Whereas this, in manga, they've been perfecting it, and it's very easy to imitate. Anyone can, and American artists are growing up on manga now. The newer generation is not growing up reading cape shit.
Yeah, it's all 40-year-olds who are fucking worshipping American shit art.
At youngest.
Refusing to accept that better can be done.
Not even really 40-year-olds, because we know 40-year-olds who just read manga, and it's like, yeah, American cape shit sucks. But the thing is that the younger generation of artists are ignoring American cape shit art as being the plain, generic garbage that it is, and they're taking Ethan Van Sciver's visual style and throwing it into the garbage where it belongs, where it will be forgotten about in the dustbin of history. And that's the nature of art and the main difference between American comic art and really everyone else's comic art throughout all of Asia. But also, there's a big contingent in European comics. Now, European comics has its own thing, too, but again, it's you can't deny that the stylistic choice of motion and how to draw it is better in manga. You can criticize manga for many, many other ways. We've done it before anyone else is even thinking of doing it. We did it first. We did it decades ago. But there's still no denying that this is better than this visually. It's visually correct. And even this, the Common America one, is essentially more simple, but it has better visual action. Whereas this just looks like he drew a cyber frog with an extended leg and pasted it over a fucking hornet that's just there. He just drew a hornet.
Similar to the fucking... always remind me of the fucking, the Rob Liefeld bad art.
Yeah, which his art is bad, of course.
Where it's like, fucking, I had to draw 20 pages this month. Give me a break.
Yeah, exactly. You replied, this did some numbers. 7 retweets is pretty good, Rob Kuro. But you replied also saying that Batman panel is hilariously bad. Professional is the most misused word when it comes to comic books. Yeah, it's just weirdly ugly. And again, here's the thing. It does still work. This Batman panel, it's ugly. The action is stiff and generic. It still works, though. But also, I don't care about fucking... Oh, no, Green Lantern punched Batman. It's usually just the gay drama. The same as like, oh, no, fucking... A Cyberfrog kicked a hornet. Aren't there millions and millions or billions or trillions that have infested the entire planet? And yet somehow nobody's seen them for 20 years.
Yeah, I don't care if he kicks a hornet.
Yeah. Why should I care? Meanwhile, in this one, the fucking the Sea King was fucking a super giant threat. He was basically unfazed by the prisoner guy punching him, and basically it led to a great scene though where licenseless writer
is basically legendary. If you know anything about comics, if you don't know anything about comics, you probably don't know anything about this scene, although you probably still do anyway.
If you're not really a fan of comics, maybe you don't know what happened in this, but this was one of the best. This was what convinced me that One Punch Man isn't just a great action comic and wasn't just funny either, but has legitimately, sincerely great moments. And it wasn't from this, but it was what happens after a licenseless writer or Kamen writer.
It's a Moomin writer.
Common Moomin writer.
Common Moomin.
Boopin Jujin writer. But yeah, he comes up and he's going to fight the guy. And the fucking, Saitama, the One Punch Man, also shows up, but has this great moment where he doesn't want to fucking share the credit. He actually hands credit over to fucking I prefer to call him licenseless writer, just because I want to. But it's this great fucking moment.
I speak English. I speak American like you should.
Like asshole. You shit asshole. But it's just a great moment in the comic and in the anime too, because it's preserved. But it shows that Saitama is willing to completely discard his ego and fan appreciation just to give, essentially, even undeserved appreciation for a guy who is less powerful but more brave. And that was... and even the prisoner guy punching the bad guy here, he's kind of a good guy in a way, too. So it's sort of like...
Yeah, it's a nice little character moment for this. Basically, a tiny side character.
But it's sort of like
tiny side characters.
About the ending in Dark Knight, where the prisoners are on the boat, and that kind of whole thing. That whole scene, that's really good stuff too. And similar in this.
It's kind of the anti-Cyber Frog.
Yes. But
all he does is whine and mope about how. Everyone stab him in the back.
He's trying to make a bunch of nobodies rich and famous. He's a humble hero merchant. What did he get? Stabbed in the back. But look at this kicking.
Where it's no longer just a fucking pathetic cope. It's like fucking... It's a plot element in the fucking comic.
Yes, unironically. And fucking whining about being backstabbed and everybody betray him, he fed up in this world, is that's actually part of the story in Cyberfrog. In both 1 and 2.
It's sort of like the jar of urine from fucking Batman versus Superman. It's like a jar of piss is a plot device.
And or like IHOP in Man of Steel. IHOP's involved in the storyline. But look at this.
That is typical of American cape shit.
Yes, that is American cape shit in a nutshell. Where IHOP's involved in the story. Just the way Mike Soklasa said that
It's
is
like
fucking wonderful.
So shocked by the brazen level of
Product placement, yeah. Anyways, but look at Cyberfrog. Look at how detailed his leg is with all the lines on it. That means it's a good comic.
I didn't pay any attention to that.
Oh yeah, because
I
it's
didn't pay any attention to it because I don't care.
This has less detail, but looks better. It's more dynamic action. The fucking Common America and the One Punch Man one as well. But also,
it has something happening. That's what people don't realize. You'll fucking point this out. Nothing is happening. What are you talking about? He's kicking a guy. He is kicking the Hornet.
He kicked the Hornet.
That's not what that means.
Yeah, again, nothing happens in this entire comic either. It's in this Cyberfrog comic where he kicks the Hornet. Nothing happens in the entire.
Admit that too.
Yes,
his own fans are like, yeah, fucking. The whole thing's just like a prequel or setup for the next part. And that was the last issue. This one, nothing's happening either.
Yeah, and to the point where
2 years late,
where Ethan Van Sciver had to do like emergency cope and say the comic's going to be even longer, and now he's telling people it's at the printers, which means it probably won't be out until next year. If it's out this year, it's because he rushed it, which he doesn't do that because he doesn't even work on it.
That means there are mere months until its release.
If Cyberfrog isn't out until next year, it proves that everyone left in Comicsgate are genetically cucks and mentally ill. If Cyberfrog is out this year, everyone in Comicsgate is still genetically cucks and mentally ill. End of story. But anyways, yeah, the other thing, though, that's better about Common America, first of all, tit physics, but then also upskirt. Fucking just slight...
Everything. Just going full on, full bore.
And just...
No holds barred.
Also, just Zyber thicka thighs. And fucking just some delicious ass meat.
Drawn by a heterosexual.
Yes, as opposed.
I forgot there were any in comics.
Yeah, there certainly aren't any in the American comics that appeal to the Cape shitheads, the Cape cucks. But yeah, that's the thing. As Ethan Van Sciver himself personally said to me, they don't want to appeal to fans of this or this. He said that publicly. He went on the record, and Comicsgate didn't tell him he was wrong. They were like, yeah, Ethan's right. Who are these nobodies disagreeing with him? Ethan's Caesar. He's our leader, even though we don't have a leader. Again, just mentally ill. Everyone in Comicsgate, objectively mentally ill. As we have just proven. QED, as the fancy pants say. But anyway, so yeah. Again, we've proven right. We are proven right by history and by all objective
vindicated
reality.
By history.
Yes, vindicated by history after only a mere few seconds, usually. So, if you enjoy people who are always correct, and the master race, if you're part of the master race, or at least have an appreciation for the master race,
or part of a race that is so fast, so much faster than other people. It might be a race that is a master. It's 150 cc's.
Perhaps even the Sonic the Hedgehog race, you could even call it. Wow, that must be even better. But if you appreciate that, donate to us on Subscribestar to check out all the videos that say all the things that people don't want you to hear. If you appreciate the truth, donate to us. If you don't appreciate the truth, don't donate to us. Again, just way more stuff like this and then some on our Subscribestar. Only way to see it is donating on our Subscribestar, usually anyways. But as usual, should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.